Welcome to this Mission Sonlight Extra. Today we share the testimony of a new believer in South Sudan, as told in his own words. My name is Kammillo and I live in Juba, South Sudan. One day in 2009, long before I joined the Seventh-day Adventist Church, I was walking down the road. There was a lot of garbage along the road, mostly papers, and one paper in particular caught my eye. I picked up the paper and began to read it. I read a paragraph that talked about God's 10 commandments and how they'd been changed by man, namely the fourth commandment, Sabbath. I read about how millions of people rejected God's seventh day and began to observe Sunday, the first day of the week, and the mark of the beast. I opened the Bible and began reading all the verses that were written on the paper. That's when I realized I was a beast worshiper. I began to blame myself for getting involved with the Catholic Church and decided to separate from it. I spent a year and a half without attending a Catholic church. In 2010, I decided to return to the Catholic Church, but only for the first, second, and third readings from the Bible on Sundays before returning home. I continued that until 2013. During those years, I was not comfortable with the Catholic Church for what they were doing regarding the Sabbath, and eventually their activities became useless to me, and I began to resent them. In my heart, I knew I was wrong for ever joining those people. At that time, I did not know where a Seventh-day Adventist church was, or even that there were Sabbath worshipers near me. I was still attending a Catholic church in June 2013, when one Sunday morning as I reached the church door, something stopped me. A thought came to my mind that I should turn around and never come back. I felt something in my heart that was like a fire burning. I returned home. On Tuesday night of that same week, as I was sleeping, I was awakened by a bright light shining over me and a strong wind blew through my room. Inside the light I saw someone in white clothes down to his feet. His face was shining too, so much that I could barely make it out, and his hair was very long and white. All around him were many colors like a rainbow. At that moment I became paralyzed with fear and I couldn't speak. He didn't say anything. After a few more moments, he slowly disappeared in front of my eyes. At that moment, my spirit was disturbed. I decided to join the ECSP church and have them pray for me. I spent a month with them, but nothing changed in me spiritually. One day, I overheard a discussion between someone I worked with and some of our fellow colleagues. I went over to him and asked, "Which church do you attend? How do they worship? Do they follow the Bible?" He then explained to me everything about the Seventh-day Adventist Church. He told me the way that they teach the Bible is very unique. He also told me he had a similar experience of being visited by a man in bright light. After his experience, he joined the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and they prayed over his spiritual life, and eventually he was baptized. After I heard his story, my interest in the Adventist Church grew. It was about that time that I decided to join them. On my first Sabbath at an Adventist church, the members prayed for me, and right away I felt a change in my spiritual life and in my body. From that Sabbath onward, I stayed with the church until I was baptized, and it was the happiest day of my life. Thank you for joining us for this Mission Sonlight Extra.